So, welcome, folks. This is Love Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. My name is DJ TY, be the place to be. I'm so glad to be here today, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you may be. We have a very special show for you today. Yes, as usual, today we've gone back to my old country. Again, yes, Nigeria. Some people say Niger, yes. A great country out there, full of celebrities, full of so many things. Yes, this is Nigeria coming calling. But we have a special show for you today. As I promised, it's going to be wonderful. A very great conversation with you and for you. From Addis Ababa to Johannesburg, from Addis Ababa to Zimbabwe, all around the globe. This is Highway 6 to Africa. Yeah, we are connecting the dots. Because you know what? We named this program Highway 6 to Africa because you know what? The diaspora is part of Africa right now. It's the 5th or the 6th region in Africa and for Africa. Yes, we have with us PETRAA. PETRAA has been AWOL for so many times. You know what? She's here and matters. It's great to see you, PETRAA.
TRB, you put me on the spot in front of the whole world. Hey, Love Bay family. I know last week I was sick. I had the stomach flu, and then I had that. It's been going around in Toronto a little bit, but everything is good. I'm back now. I know y'all miss me.
Yeah, I miss Ron too. Ron is in the he's in the Bundugo somewhere. He cannot even get the internet. For you, Ron. And I know you're struggling to listen to us. Yes, but all the same, we'll ask your questions for you. If you can text us, Ron, we'll post it with SOLIS4EVR for you. Hi, SOLIS4EVR. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing awesome. We're so happy to have you on this program because you know what? We come here to converse, to chat. You are among friends. I'm an artist. PETRAA is an artist. As a matter of fact, PETRAA is the 2022 Juno Award nominee. Reggae. Woo.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll be the Juno Award winner. We can't forget that.
I always want to, keep it under the carpet. But once you said it, once you indicated it, that's all right. That's okay. It's great to have you to have you with us today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you may be listening to us or viewing us. PETRAA, as usual, the first question is for you and with you.
Aw, for me? For sure. I just want to say SOLIS4EVR, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Really excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. So am I.
Awesome. So I like to start off with our signature question because I think it's important for the listeners to know, but can you just tell everybody who is SOLIS4EVR?
Okay, so I'm SOLIS4EVR, duh, and I am a singer-songwriter from Lagos, Nigeria. I make music on the axis of like pop and indie soul, and I infuse a lot of elements into my music. I think what's primary in all of my music is that it's full of feeling and emotion, and that's what I try to tap into and give to the world every single time. I've been making music 2018, and I took a 3-year hiatus, and I just dropped my new single last month after the hiatus. So I'm just really happy to be here.
That's fantastic, and we're happy to have you here too. So then I have to ask this question. I know you hear this all the time. Why the name SOLIS4EVR?
So Solus means the sun in Latin, and I sort of chose that because I guess my whole life I've sort of embodied this like sunshine personality, as people would describe me. And I just wanted my music to serve as a light for people, and for my music to be a reminder that like the sun will always come up in the morning. And so just to serve as like a beacon of hope and light, basically, and hope that people find solace in my music. It's also like a double entendre.
Yeah, yeah.
The forever, because
I love that. And I can definitely, I know it's the first time we're meeting, but I can definitely sense that sunshine personality is just shining through the screen. So
I love that.
yeah, thank you. TYB?
Well, that was a short question that you gave.
Sure.
Yes, yes. How did it all start? How did it all start?
Oh boy. So with music, music has just always been in me. I know so many artists have that story, but I think that's just the beautiful thing about music, is that it's something that it doesn't come up randomly. Like, it's something that's always been inside you. So for me, my earliest memories in life as a kid are of me singing, of me dancing, and just performing. And I grew up in the church, so right from a really early age, I was singing in the church a lot. And I started writing music around the age of 7. So for me, I've been doing this so long. I'm not new to this at all. And from when I was like 12, I started posting videos on the internet of me singing. So from about like 12 till I was about 17 years old, I was posting videos on like every single platform that would pop up, whether it was like Musically or Keek or YouTube or Instagram. Like, every time a new social media app was invented, like, I was there making videos of me singing. And then when I was 18, there's a Nigerian artist called Odunsi the Engine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's like in the Alte scene in Nigeria, and he was working on his album, and he found one of my videos online, and then he asked me to be on his album, and that was the first time I ever like got in the studio. And then from there, I just started recording my own songs, and here I am now.
Wow, 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 wow. That's a very good beginning in terms of this story. Yeah, I myself, I've gone through a lot of artists, speaking with them, and having conversations like this. And most of the time, yes, we always come across artists who found their footing or their calling in the church.
Yeah.
How I mean, in the church, were you a member of the church choir, or what was it? We want to start from the beginning, right?
Okay, so I went to a Pentecostal church as a child, and I don't know if you're familiar, but it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
talks, like, very alive in a lot of ways. And my church was one that really loved to focus on the children's talents. So they were very big on harnessing talent from the kids in the church from a very young age. So we would do things like singing, dancing, acting, break dancing. Like, it was a very fun church. And so I wasn't even really in the choir, but I would just always have like solo performances in the church. So they would take me from like the children's church to the main church, and I would do like little solos every other Sunday. And for like the events like Easter and things like that, we would have like joint performances and things like that. So they also really played a huge part in who I am as a performer, because not only did we sing, but they would make us like perform in the spirit in church. And when you tap from a young age, that spirit never leaves. So no matter what sort of music I'm singing, whether it's church music, pop music, R&B, this is at the core of like everything.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. So it means that from all indications, you were spotted. Your talent was tapped right from the beginning.
I like to think
So
so.
yeah. And here you are making
Here
it, and then so were your parents supportive in terms of you getting into the industry?
Oh boy. They were not. And it's funny because everybody like knew me as a singer, right? Like as a child, all I did was sing, and my parents loved it. They pushed me, they encouraged me. But the second I like officially wanted to be a musician, they're like,
You
no
know,
daughter of mine is entering
Mm,
like this record industry, and so yeah, it was a bit of a difficult journey, and also I guess being the only girl, like they were just really protective of
mm.
me. So at this point in time, I understand why they were the way that they were, but at the time it just felt like they didn't want me to achieve my dreams. So it took a couple of years. I think it was maybe like in the third year, like that they started warming up to it. I guess obviously because I started making moves, and like I remember the first time my mom heard my song on the radio, she was like, "Oh, okay," like
wow,
doing.
that's yeah.
And so I know that for them, it was just coming from a place of, we want our daughter to have a secure living. Being an artist is a very,
Yeah.
you don't know which way it's gonna go. There's the
Yeah.
term artist, and so many of us are struggling artists for a really long time. So I know that's where it was sort of coming from. But then the second they saw that, okay, I'm sort of making money, I'm getting recognition,
Mhm.
they were like, okay, maybe we can like understand a little bit. And like now where we are in 2024, they're just like completely behind me. Like my mom just texted me today, and she sent me a video of some artist, and she was like, "Oh, she should do a collab with Solis," and I was like, "Okay."
Aw,
Yeah.
It took a
great.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh,
A
yeah.
momager.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's I can attribute my own upbringing in terms of my musical career the same thing. Like in any African home, the parents will expect you either to be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, a
Mine
magistrate,
too.
what have you. If you say you're going to be a mechanic, they'll just whack you. Or you know what? Because I can recall a friend of mine. He went to England, and so they were sitting down, so they were asking the kids what each one of them would be doing or would potentially seek to do when they grow up. The last one said, I wanted to be a garbage collector. And that guy got some licks. But then they had forgotten about the fact that even that job in North America is very difficult to get it because they are well paid.
Yeah, you make a lot of money as a
It
garbage
makes a
collector. So,
lot of bringing money, right?
mhm.
So I can see where I mean the lack of support was initially, but at least right now they've seen the potential that you have.
Yeah.
Because most of us, or most African musicians, or most black musicians from
Mhm.
you know have gone through that because
Yeah.
our parents expected us to do something other than what we do have right now. But then all of us cannot be doctors, all of
Oh,
us
Mhm.
cannot be mechanics, all of us cannot
Exactly.
be engineers. If my car
Mhm.
breaks down, who's going to fix it if I'm not a
exactly.
mechanic? So I see where you are right now, but hey, you've done it, you've made it. That's what
Mhm.
matters. Petra?
Yeah, most definitely. I definitely want to kind of taper off on what TRB is saying. I'll continue what he's saying pretty much is the fact that I myself went through the same thing. My mom, she's a lawyer, so it's like me wanting to
Yeah.
be a musician is like the total opposite of the spectrum. Yeah, Cherby's laughing.
Yeah.
Because even now it's like she gets it, but she doesn't get it. But when you reach certain heights, like when I got my nomination for the Juno, like it was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And it's like she's a bit more supportive. I wish she'd be a bit more, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you have to continue with your journey because,
Yeah.
like you said, not everybody could be a lawyer or a doctor or what have you, but there needs to be musicians, you
Yes.
know?
Yep.
We're
You
actually
know?
super important. Like we're super important. So
Oh yes.
Thank you. And just to kind of touch on one thing too, like I'm very much a spiritualist, I'm very much into vibrational frequency. And when you make music, that could be make or break for somebody. Them just hearing one song by Solace,
yep,
that could make or break like where they go in life, whether they have a good day or
yep.
a bad day, like who they meet. So We're
Really
important.
be a breakdown and you listen to a song and it just calms you down. Like music is
Mhm.
such a healing thing. There was like the power of music is so real. So yeah,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, nobody understand your journey like you do. So you can't even blame them for
Mhm.
not really being supportive or understanding because it's not their journey. So they just simply
Thank
cannot
you.
understand, especially
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
We got each other as a musical community.
Oh, I couldn't hear you said sorry. Say it again.
So we've got each other as a musical community.
Yes.
So we're good.
Exactly. I was gonna say that. Like you have Love Bay family now. We're always gonna be a musical family. So
That's right.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, I seen the love. I like that. I like that one. For sure. So I just want to ask you like some more musical questions.
Mhm.
What I think we mentioned it before, but you mentioned you do pop music because you want to be a happy artist. Is that you want to put out happy music, correct?
Not
Or was it
necessarily happy
or
music,
why was the
but I do want my music to be joy.
oh yeah. So why did you choose pop music? Like why? Essentially why?
I think
'Cause I'm
because
from
for me,
England,
a lot of
the land of pop, so I'm curious.
I think for me, because a lot of my subject matter comes from a place of pain or heartbreak or sorrow. Like a lot of my music, if you listen to the lyrics, are very melancholy. And
Mm-hmm.
I do have a lot of like ballads and like, really slow, soft songs in my arsenal. There's something I find really beautiful about juxtaposing really
Mm-hmm.
lyrics with like a really upbeat tempo and really fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a form of release where it's like you're releasing pain in a way that makes you dance. And the same way music
Mm.
also has frequency, and when you move your body, you're releasing energy. So I think for me to be able to speak about things that are painful in ways that I can dance to, like I just think that's a really great way of going about it.
Mm-hmm. It's musical therapy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I really love that. It like I know you're not exactly the same as her, but you kind of give me like a Summer Walker type of vibe. You know, Summer Walker?
Mm,
I love
yeah.
Summer because she speaks about like certain topics that she went through with her I can't remember his name, her producer boyfriend or what have you, and she put it into her music, and
I
I
love
can relate to that, you know. So when I hear
that.
your music, I love that. I heard the melancholy sound you talking about, you know, drunk texting your boyfriend. We've all done that as ladies on calls, you know.
Mhm.
You know, it's a
So
human
sorry, continue. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying it's a human thing. So
So when I saw that and I'm reading some of the lyrics, I'm just laughing because I'm like, yeah, I've done that like how many times already? So yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. And then I wanted to ask you one more question before I pass on to TYB. I wanted to ask you, so how did you feel when you saw that your song first hit 500,000 streams? Like, what was that feeling like for you?
Mhm.
Oh boy. It was just sort of surreal, I guess, but also like whenever I'm doing things in my life, whether it's music or otherwise, I always write manifestations in my journal of like what I want to achieve. And I remember sort of putting it in my journal that I want, my song to get to 100K plays. And so opening up like my artist profile and seeing the numbers that I did, it was just like not only were my goals achieved, but even surpassed.
Mm-hmm.
Just be thankful, like that's all I feel is just gratitude that all that many people connect to my sound. Like it's really just gratitude across the board.
Yeah, for sure. And it also kind of lets you know, like your community is huge. There's so many people going through what you're going through that connect to you, and you can build off that too, you know?
Yeah. It's just beautiful because for me, ultimately, I do this because I want people to hear my songs and like not feel alone, to be able to like hear and be like, oh, I've gone through that, I've been through that emotion, you know. And so the more people that listen to it, the more it's just like, okay, wow, people are actually like real life humans resonated with
Yeah.
so it just makes me really happy.
Exactly. No bots, real humans feeling. Exactly. Awesome. TYB?
Yeah. Folks, you are listening to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. This is Highway 6 to Africa. We have a special guest, SOLIS4EVR. She's all the way in Nigeria, one of the best R&B artists here in Nigeria right now, folks. My question to you is that you've started from the church. You've been elevated to so many different levels. Your music is being played. Now you've achieved success. How do you measure success right now?
I was just about to say, I don't know about that. I feel like I'm still very much on the journey. I think I try my best to find moments to acknowledge the work that I've done and the milestones that I've reached, but I don't think there's ever any like, I don't know, ultimate success. Like I think everything is a journey, the way life is a journey. So I'm more or less going to be doing music for the rest of my life, you know what I mean? So success is everything. Success is getting to 100K streams. Success is performing on a stage I've never performed at. Success is meeting a fan, them telling me how my music affected them. You know, it's all the little things. So I guess you can say that I'm successful, but it's just everything to me. I don't really think of this like one big major success, you know, that I need to reach. It's more so just the entire journey and being present for the entire journey and always putting out good work.
Yeah, I said success because not a lot of in normal races, car racing, or when you go to the race course with the horses and stuff like that. Sometimes, as soon as the shot goes, not everybody or not every of the horses are able to get out. Some of them cannot go. They just
Yeah.
start right there and then say, I can't do it. But you
Yeah.
have gone beyond those kind of difficulties. We haven't even gone through the difficulties part yet. But then you've been able to get where you are, like what PETRAA said, 500,000 views and listeners and what have you. It's quite a milestone because there are a lot of people who may have started way before you and they don't even have 10 people listening to your music. And for where you are right now, I think you've done well. And can you share any of the milestones that you alluded to that you can share with us?
I guess for me, one of my proudest moments was doing my head in my city last year, and I did that independently. I'm signed now, but last year I did it completely independent, out of pocket by myself with the help of friends, my friends in the industry, and just getting to pull that off and it be like my show from like before to the sound to the wardrobe. Like it was a dream come true. And then getting to see in real life, like people who pay money to come see me, like it was just so surreal. Like I remember being on stage and I was like, wait, you guys paid to see me? Like it was so, it was,
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. They really did. Mhm. So your mom heard your music and said, "Wow, is that you?" How did you feel when you heard your own music on the radio for the first time?
Mm.
screaming. I was in an Uber, and the second it came on, I literally tapped him. I was like, turn up the volume, it's me, it's me. I just started screaming. He got so excited as well, so we were both in the car like dancing. It was such a wholesome moment. I can never forget.
Aw.
Wow, that's how it is. I remember listening to mine. I said, "That's not me. That's not me." But I took it. It really encouraged me that people were listening and a DJ was playing and playing the music and all that. Even now, When I listen to it, when I hear other radio stations play, I say to myself, still? Because
Yeah.
I
With my
hardly
song
play.
sometimes I'm like,
Oh,
oh.
yeah, we hardly play my music on this radio station. I don't know. People ask why, but you see,
Why?
I always want to give the chance to others too. You know,
Oh, how
to
humble.
give people the chance to listen to, because you know what, there are so many musicians out there who
Mm-hmm.
are better than us, but they've not been tapped. Or sometimes there are so many impediments in their ways in terms of payola, which they cannot afford. It means going to the studio is tough. God's so good. Today we can record on our cell phones, or we have studios
Yeah,
in our homes and stuff like that. But then back then it was very difficult. You got to raise
yeah.
funds, and were they going to play it if you don't have the money? So, and it's an achievement right now where we are right now. Everything is so, it has become easier. But then,
Yeah,
having said everything has become easier, there are more musicians, there are
yeah,
more
everything
music
is,
in there. That's right.
yeah,
There's
Mm-hmm.
more music. So you have to excel. You cannot say that, okay, I'm going to do the same thing that everybody is doing. Because this is where my question comes in. Have you
yeah.
ever, or has anybody told you that you're from Nigeria, but I was expecting Afrobeat music? And why
Uh,
did you choose this?
all the time, all the time. I've had so many conversations with so many industry heads and have them tell me, your music doesn't sound very Nigerian. I don't think, Nigerians will connect to you or want to listen to you. Maybe you should add some pigeon or whatever it is. And
Mm.
it would happen so often, especially at the beginning of my career. And when I started my career, I was 18, so I was pretty young. And I remember having all of these conversations and really and having them plant doubt in my mind. And I would have so many,
Mm.
my dad at that time would tell me, like, if you're gonna do music, at the very least, music that's gonna be commercial, and that people would like. And I remember there are times I really sat down and I thought to myself, maybe I should change my sound, so that it's more appealing to the people in my country. And I've had studio sessions where I went in there purposely to make, a typical Afrobeat song, but every time I tried to release it, it just never felt right in my spirit. And I can't do something that doesn't feel like me. If I'm not being my authentic self, it's going to show. So what's the point? Like, I feel like Afrobeats artists, they make Afrobeats because that's what comes naturally to them. And if it doesn't come naturally to me, then why am I doing it? So
Yeah.
I just I remember there was a time where I really broke down about it because I felt like I just would never, blow in quote if I didn't do that. And then after it, I just wrote in my journal, I did some reflection, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with all of that. I'm just gonna stick to what I know and try and be the best at that. And then I should be good. And I am good. So
That's good. I mean,
And
yeah,
500,000 people know you good too.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Petra.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to cut you to IB. I just get so excited.
No, no, I'm done with it. I'll come back again with this in a different way.
All good. So just from you what you were speaking about with TYB, I know you were speaking about doing your tour, correct?
yeah, I mean it's in the works.
Awesome. Because when we were listening to you, right, some things were cutting out. So just what were you saying you did last year? You said you did a show last year, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So and you said you're signed now, right?
Yes.
And you said prior to you being signed, like you were the one that literally paying for your career and all that stuff. I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, prior to getting signed, what kept you going? Because there's times as a musician, let me to cut you, there's times as musicians, like, and you're trying to get to that goal. Like sometimes it just seems like, oh my gosh, impossible. Am I ever gonna get there? Like, so what was it for
So
you?
For me, it was just the innate passion and love that I have for music, and not only for music, but sharing it with the world and having it touch people. So for me, it really was my desire to connect with humanity, and how also I've just always known from a really young age that that's my calling. So it's like if I'm not doing that, then I'm not fulfilling my destiny. So no matter how difficult it is, it's something I have to push through because it's the story of my life. So even
Mm.
some really difficult times, like I said, I took a 3-year hiatus from making music because it was just so difficult. Like it was difficult. It felt like I was giving so much and not really getting anything in return. So I took a second just to take care of my mental health and then just to have a plan because music
Mm.
thing for a lot of us, but music is also a business. So I
Thank
just took
you.
some time to learn this, to understand it, to know how to set myself up for success or, for a
Mhm.
wide. I did the work, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so really that's just what kept me going was my desire to connect with humanity and to fulfill my destiny.
Most definitely. I love that. That's really great. And I have two questions from what you just said actually. So you spoke about you fulfilling your destiny and doing what it is that you have to do. Um it's through music. I want to ask this question, but you can also speak about yourself as well. Like what makes you different? You know, like you spoke a little bit about it, and everyone has their reason for doing music, but what makes you different and why, like, than anyone else out there?
I think maybe um because I feel like I'm not really from here. Like I feel like my
Mm-hmm.
as a child, my mom would always like constantly every day say that I have my head in the clouds. Um,
Mm.
and that always rung so true because if you hang out with me as a person, like I'm a very interesting person in that sometimes you really wonder like, are you here with us at the moment?
Yeah.
You're somewhere else. And I think that
Yeah.
quality that I have as a human being translates in the music where it's like, for example, hearing Sorry for Calling, my new single, no one would hear that and think, okay, that's a Nigerian artist that lives in Nigeria. You know,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
never think that. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
something that I used to sort of be insecure about, like, oh, why am I so different and weird and like
Not
just so,
weird, girl.
cartoonish and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I learned to embrace it as I got older, and I believe
Mm-hmm.
holding on to childlike wonder because that's what keeps us alive, and I think that's what translates in my music and makes me different.
Yeah, that was a perfect answer. Thank you so much. You know, and the reason why I say that because I believe like the world needs a solace. You know, I'm sure there's many people like who just like you, born and raised in Nigeria, but don't feel like don't fit the narrative. You know that themselves. So as opposed to those people feeling like, oh, am I an anomaly? Like Facile, I'm sure
Yeah,
Facile, he's another Nigerian
yeah,
artist. He doesn't sound like a Nigerian artist, quote unquote, but I don't feel like artists necessarily have to sound like where they come from. Like I'm from England, born and raised. If you know anything about England, it's like pop music, like rock music, but I sing
yeah,
reggae. I'm not Jamaican. My family's Vincentian. And then on my island, they sing soca music. I don't sing soca. So I also don't fit that narrative. I don't
yeah.
know why my calling was reggae music, but now I'm in it. I know why. My music is to heal people, spread a message, praise the Most High. So just like
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
you know,
love that.
anomaly, embrace it, love it. You know what I mean?
I realize just how many anomalies there are. Like, because
Mhm.
we're all in our own little worlds. We don't even realize that there's actually so many of us, which is why it's important to put it out there to create and let people understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay to not
Yeah.
be typical.
Exactly. And I think through social media has really allowed the whole world to be able to show the world that there's more of us out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And then I also wanted to ask you one question as well before I pass it to TYB in relation to artist development. And I know that this is like a huge thing in the music industry. You know, like TYB mentioned, there's so many artists out there. but there's certain things that can separate one artist from another. And you mentioned that you put a lot of work into developing yourself as an artist. Is it possible to literally share it to another Solace out there that wants to follow in your footsteps but doesn't know how to get themselves, where you are, or even on that journey?
Yeah, I think the first and the most important thing is knowing yourself and being comfortable in yourself, not only as an artist, as a person first. You need to love yourself, to understand yourself. You need to be okay with your flaws, the parts that aren't so great, the parts that are wonderful. And then you need to be okay with your sound, especially if you're someone like me who sounds different from the regular. You need to be okay with it, and you need to be confident in it, because again, so many people are going to be in your ear saying you should do this, you should do this differently. So you need to, one, be confident in yourself, and then two, you also just need to familiarize yourself with the business aspect of things. You need to understand how to push your music. You need to understand how to use social media to your advantage. And you need to learn to just work with what you've got. If you're someone that is camera shy, for example, you can find your way around it. Not every artist has to be flashy and all over the place. Like, you can find what works for you, and just being comfortable in yourself. Once you're comfortable in yourself, you can do anything. Because when you sit in the corner of yourself and think, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to achieve with the music? What do I want to achieve with the sound? Then you just map it out there and be confident in what you're doing. And I think you'll be fine.
Wow.
I love that. Thank you, Solace. Great advice.
Love it. I love that. Love it. Folks, we are in conversation with the amazing Solis4EVR. She's in Nigeria right now, and we are having this great conversation. You can join in. Text in 437778329. And if you are watching us too, well, you can also text, and we'll get back with you. Hi, Ron. I know you text us. I know you are in somewhere there. I've asked your question for you. I hope you were here too. Yes, my question, a question that I would like to pose to you: what challenges have you faced in your career, and how did you overcome them?
There's so many. I think especially when I was a lot of my issues stemmed from like a lack of resources, which can be very difficult in music, because music is such a money spending career.
Very much.
Tell me about it. Yes.
And for the first 4 years of my career, how I sort of like circumvented that is I just was of the very delusional, it wasn't really delusional because it happened, but belief that I could do anything. So I would record on my phone, mix and master my songs on my phone. I would record videos on my phone or on my laptops, like photo booth, and I would edit it on my laptop. I would post them on the internet. So I would literally make the songs, make the videos, edit them, make them really cute, and I'd post them on the internet as like songs and their music videos, and I just made it work as much as possible. So even though it didn't look like $1 million budget, it was cute and it sounded good. So I just, for a very long time, I was just doing everything by myself to the best of my ability, because I feel people come into the industry hoping that they can just like, start making all the moves and doing all the high budget stuff. But realistically, I think people get carried away by all the va-va-voom of the industry, when really at the end of the day, it's still just the music that matters. Like, if the music isn't good, it doesn't matter if you do a like $2 million music video. If the music isn't good, it's not going to resonate.
Yeah,
exactly.
Then if you have the money to do big things, just work on the sound and make sure you're putting it out there in whatever capacity. Like I said, I was posting videos on the internet. So, and they were all very much low quality things, but I was singing, and that's all that mattered. And then I think another obstacle I faced was just like in Nigeria, the music scene is very male led, especially
Oh,
at the time that I came into music. It was only like three, four, five women that were sort of like popping in the industry compared to like tens, if not hundreds, of men that were making music at the time. So it was very much hard to be seen, just even as a woman, first of all, let alone a woman that's making alternative music. Um,
Mm,
it was definitely interesting because even when I got like one foot in the door, it would be a lot of men in the industry trying to diminish your abilities, or just
mm,
seem like a prop, almost like you're not real and you can't stand alone by yourself. Or men trying to make you feel like you need their help to succeed, like if you're not doing it this way, then you're not gonna be anything.
mm.
And for me, I just don't listen to noise. And like I said, I've always had a very um deep self belief that comes from God, in ways
Yeah,
that like no man tell me that I can't do something. If
in it.
anything, you telling me I can't do it will make me like do it that very second, you
Yeah.
know? I think those are some of like those the bigger challenges I face, like especially like at the beginning of my career.
yeah. What you said something that resonates with us. We've been discussing this, and I think we are going to do a full program about women in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
Women in the music industry. Yes, it feels like it's been male dominated for quite a while, and now
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to break it down. Because if you take the Afrobeats area, for instance, there are great female artists out there, but you hardly. There are about four or five who have dominated the scene,
Yeah.
so that anybody can break through. And
Yeah.
it's good that you also have found your niche to branch it to different ways, a different era.
mm-hmm.
Because when we had Fasil on the radio a couple of weeks ago, if I can put it that way, yeah, the sentiment was that everybody looks at every Nigerian artist as Afrobeat musician, but then
No,
we all can be Afrobeat musicians.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So right now, where you are right, let's even move it to reggae. It started reggae. It's gone through. It's dancehall reggae. Even within dancehall reggae, there's different facets of it. So you cannot say that, okay, you know what, because I'm from Jamaica or because I'm from Nigeria, I have to be under this cloak. No, it's
Yeah.
wrong.
Mhm, exactly.
So the music that you're doing right now, I'm telling you, it's great, because we all can be Afrobeat musicians, and then we cannot be tagged as being from Nigeria. So you have to do Afrobeat music. So to having overcome that kind of stigma, if I can put it that way, is an achievement for
Very much.
you. Continue to do what you're doing. Go ahead,
Thank you
please.
so
Yeah, most definitely. And I totally agree with you, TYB. And I wanted to make a statement too, right? Because I don't think it's fair that they want to put artists in boxes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Mhm.
music is so free flowing. Like for them to say, okay, because you're from Nigeria, you have to sing a particular way. You know what I mean? That
It
limit.
actually is kind of
Yeah, like it,
Yes.
it 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 doesn't make any sense. Again, like me coming from England, that means you have to sing pop music or you have to sing soca music because you're traditionally families from St. Vincent. Like it doesn't make sense. But I think the fact that you're breaking away from the norm and you're doing something totally different, that's gonna allow you to connect to people, in a way that people outside of that looking at that, that's gonna enlighten them. That's gonna
ex-
teach them. You know what I
I
mean?
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Salis, about that?
No, I just like totally agree. And I think it's so interesting because at the beginning of my career, I thought, man, me being so different was such an obstacle, but it's such a
Mm,
blessing. Such,
yeah.
I genuinely feel so seen and heard in my sound because it's
Mhm.
so away from
Different. Yeah.
everything. Yeah, like it really does feel that way now. And so I really hope anyone that's listening that has a sound that's different from what's around them, don't think that it's an issue or it's a problem. Trust me, like it's such a blessing to be heard in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can put it this way: every misfortune is a blessing. That's what I always say. Every misfortune is a blessing. So, I mean, you got your calling there. So keep doing what you're doing without looking back to say, okay, because she's from Nigeria, so she has to do Afrobeat or juju music or high life music or what have you. Continue to do what you're doing, and that's how I've said it so many times. Back in the day, I got a chance to sign with is it A&M Records back in the day, and they wanted me to do music, calypso music, but I'm not a calypsonian, so I turned it down because they listened to what I'm able to do, the potential there, but I resisted. I said no, I don't do that. Give it to people who do it that way, because it's not that I'm not from there, but I cannot do it, even though you've seen something within me that you feel I can do it. But it's not as it seems. Yeah. My question to you is, how do you see yourself? I'll give you 5 years, and then we'll move to 10 years from now.
In 5 years, I see myself touring the world. I see myself winning Grammys.
We'll be like, yes!
My Love Faye family.
Yes. Yeah.
And I see myself transcending into film and all the different arts and stage. Just like taking my music into different realms and dimensions, and exploring all the different facets of my creativity.
Awesome. This is the icing on the cake, right? Yeah, Petra, go ahead, please.
It's like you have these picture perfect sounding answers. It's like,
yes,
say any better than that? Like, okay.
Right. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, it's really, really great. Yeah. And you took my question to you, IB. I see you.
I know that. I was going to say that. I was going to say and I know there's another one that you were going to ask. So I just kept myself away from that. So you go ahead.
And I know I took one of your questions too. Don't mind us, Solis. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, who are some of your musical influences? I would love to know.
It's such an eclectic group of people because I've listened to all sorts of genres and people over the years. But some of the foundational people that I listened to, especially growing up, were like people like Beyonce, people like Sade Adu, people like Amy Winehouse, Britney Spears. I know I said Beyonce, but also Destiny's Child.
Sure.
I also love artists like Frank Ocean, and who else? I listened to Alicia Keys. Also played a key part in my growing up. Michael Jackson, but more so as a performer. Like I was so enthralled with the way that he did music. Like it felt like music was life with him, and I just thought that was an incredible thing to have as an artist. I think those are like a lot of the major artists that like growing up really inspired me to want to hone in on not only my sound but like who I am as a performer at large.
Nice. And then what can you say, like what was it about them, and you don't have to mention every single one, but like you mentioned Michael Jackson for performing, and
I think for me the general thing was how they made music more than singing, more than using your voice. Music was almost like political, like it was something that felt like a statement to the world. And how music is also performance, but not just performance and like on stage, but performance as life, you know, like it's in the, it's in how you treat people, it's in how you move, it's in how you like, it's in how you are, because I think inherently as artists we are kind people, and I know there's probably a lot of artists that are really not good people, but to, to me,
Yeah.
If you feel a call to create, you're
For sure.
creating self, but for the world. It's a service job.
Yes.
It's to humanity. And for me, a lot of those artists, it felt like they were doing music as a service, not as a way to be a celebrity,
Thank
to
you.
you know, to make money or be famous. Like it was like, I'm doing this in service of the world, and that's what really inspired me, because that's what I want to do with my life. So yeah.
Yeah, I can totally relate. Again, another perfect picture answer. I love it. But yeah, I feel the same way, you know, like music is I think especially for independent artists, it's different when you sign. I don't know really much about being signed in that regard, right? But as an independent artist, especially when you're just first starting out, like you're really giving your all. You know what I mean? Like it really is a service.
With little in return.
I was just gonna say that with like barely nothing. Like I love how it is like in Toronto, like especially because I'm a reggae artist, right? So reggae does not have the same type of respect. But I remember going like to shows, you couldn't even get a bottle of water to drink. Like, you know what I mean? like I'm gonna, can I get some water, please? Oh yeah, that's $4, please. Hello, like
I understand. I've been through something.
you know. But I just want to say it's those things that really make or break you as an artist, and I think that's what not, and I think within yourself for you to know, okay, why am I doing this? Am I doing it just for money? Am I doing it for fame? Am I really doing it because I really want to make a difference? And I think it's those artists that overcome those trials and tribulations and those challenges and are still standing strong. Those are the artists that are doing it as a service. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the other ones fall off. So yeah, for sure. TYB.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this conversation, and the you see, we as artists, we create a space for people to enjoy. So there are so many obstacles. So you see, a lot of people think, oh, you know what, I'm an artist. I'm going to the studio. I just recorded, and then that's it. The business aspect of it is what we don't talk about. Yes, as a matter of fact, even if you sign with the big boys, sometimes, most time, they don't tell you what it is, and that's it for another show. But my question to you would be, what advice would you give people, young people, or anyone getting into the industry?
In regards to like the business of it?
The business and everything, every aspect of it.
I think it all still goes back to being sure of who you are as a person and as an artist. Once you do that and you back it up with the knowledge of the industry, how to distribute music, how to promote music, learning about splits, learning about contracts, all these things, the finer things, that you have the talent and the surety in yourself, but you have the knowledge to protect yourself and to push yourself as far as you can, because the industry can be very twisted, especially when you start working with other people. And if the people are like you, things like that, it's very easy for people to take advantage of you. And I'm saying this from experience. Like I've had a lot of experiences where, because I didn't understand the business of things, I found myself in a lot of dodgy situations, or situations where I was being swindled almost. So yeah, when you learn the knowledge of it, because it's not really fun. Learning about business isn't fun. It's really knowing to protect yourself as an artist, because you are intellectual property. So you have to learn how to take care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
just want to say one thing. Like you just said the key thing. Yeah, artists are walking, singing intellectual property. And a lot of them don't know that from the business side. Like you mentioned it, we know we're creatives. Yes, it made to be creative. But what about legally, business wise? You are intellectual property and that needs to be protected.
Yep.
But if they have no idea about the business side, which is what I feel a lot of these conglomerates want, is these artists not knowing anything and just okay, sign you, okay.
Yep.
That's it.
And the way when are involved, they try to rush you to sign things and make you feel like if you don't sign it quick, you'll lose the opportunity. It's all politics.
It
bruh.
is. It is. See, I kind of avoid a lot of contact because mom was a lawyer, right? So I just knew from young. I didn't know what the word meant. I had the dictionary. Okay, that means what? Perpetuity means what? Forever? That's the one word you need to know in music. Perpetuity.
Yeah.
And when you see it, you run. Okay?
Red flag.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. For sure.
are you planning a tour? I mean, after all this COVID stuff and stuff like that, there's a glut of music in the industry, within the industry. And are you planning a tour? Because I think your your music, just like you said, if people tell you that you cannot do it, that's what you're going to do it even better. Because I can see you making waves out there and then making it big, and we want to be a part of it because, I mean, you've impressed us with respect to this conversation and with that respect to that music. And this is where the industry should realize that, you know what, not everybody out there is just like, oh, give it to me and I sign. No, we learn from our mistakes. I have gone through the same thing, problems and all those kind of stuff, but you are able to overcome it if you sit back and not be too cocky and not be too swollen-headed because you've seen your picture in the news or you've seen something out there that makes you that big. So you always have to be humble and humble and humble. Just like I indicated, I don't play my music on this radio station. I don't even tell anybody about who I am. Right? Whenever I go somewhere, unless the person comes out and say, I know you. Even if you say that, I will say it's not me. It's the other person. So yeah, I like the vibes that you've given us this afternoon. PETRAA.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah,
Thank you
Solis,
so much.
I was gonna say it's been a fantastic conversation. I think you're a phenomenal artist, wonderful person, amazing light being, and I'm just so excited for your journey. I know you're gonna shine bright like your name, and you're gonna shine bright forever.
Forever.
So we support you.
Oh
Sending you lots
my-
of love from Love Bay, and yeah, keep shining bright, girl. We love you.
This has been so heartwarming to speak to you guys.
You know what? We would also like to thank Richardine, as Richardine has been doing. Oh my God, she is the queen of our industry, whether people like it or not. And she's been helping a lot because you know what? We need people who are dedicated. Because I know for sure that she's been through even getting artists to appear on radio stations or like ours, and sometimes people just we are going to come and but she's still there. She understands it, and she's done it, and she's continued to do it. Richardine, you're listening. We love you and continue to do what you're doing.
We love you, Richardine.
Yes.
And one thing, TYB, one thing I want to say about Richardine, she's always so supportive of female artists. You know what I mean?
That's right.
She really puts out there for the women. So I'm really happy you guys are working together and you have an amazing support system. She's amazing.
Yes. And before we go, how can people get your music, and can you put your social media handles and stuff like that for people to get in touch and to go out there to listen to the music and to add to the hundreds of thousands and all those kind of stuff, because I'm one of them anyway. So go ahead, please.
Okay, so you guys can find me everywhere on social media and on streaming at Solis Forever. That is SOLIS number 4EV.
Go ahead. You done? Go ahead again. People would like to write it down so slow,
Okay,
slowly.
for the slower folks out there, with love. You can find me on socials and on streaming at Solis Forever. That is SOLIS number 4EVR.
That's
That is
right.
it.
To the world.
The world. Here she comes. And Solis is going to be there forever. We thank you for your time and for taking this time to be with us. And we've enjoyed this conversation. You've given us something to to think about, because when you were talking about writing music and doing it and editing it and mastering it on it, somebody's I could see Petra say, oh.
I will honestly, that's another thing too. I have to applaud you for that.
Right.
Like,
somebody out there. That's right.
Mastering.
That's right.
I rate you. I love you. Keep it up.
Right. Somebody, you will be very, very surprised that somebody might ask you, how did you do that and how are you doing that? But then it's a company secret, and then you may have to keep it as that. It's not everything that goes out there.
You just have to be ready. And I would wake up and think, okay, I want to do this. Go to YouTube, go to Google, and literally just take it.
That's right. And thank you. Solis, we can't thank you enough. And come back again. Come back again. This is your radio station too. This is your radio station too, and your music is going to be blasted 24/7. I can promise you that. So
in the car, girl. Don't worry.
That's right. That's right. So come back again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Petra. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Richardine. Thank you, the producers and everybody around.
Janice.
Thank you, Janice, for producing the show. And you know what? We'll meet again in 7 days. Take care of yourselves and each other. It is Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. The program has been Highway 6 to Africa. Bye-bye.
Bye, Love family.